Welcome to another week in the markets. Happy Monday. Just making sure we're good everywhere. Looks like we're all set, ready to go. All right. So my name is Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. It is May 24th, 2021. Let's go ahead and get right into it. So starting off with our SPY. We see that the weekly close on the SPY has once again shown us a bit of indecision at these upper ranges that we're currently trading in. Notably, the SPY has been basically flat for about a month, which is something to kind of keep in the back of your mind. We've had periods of time where large consolidations and large corrections in the market have simply taken time to recover. We've had oscillations in between. We usually have a pretty clear definition of where the all-time high sits, and those breakouts can lead to multiple weeks of upside. What we have potentially is that same structure forming, but overall the performance of the SPY has been flat as of mid-April. So we've seen a couple of highs and certainly some lows, but overall we're still somewhere in this midpoint where the market is deeming value to be, and there certainly is a lot of balance in this area. We've also seen the volume pick up. We've been in an elevated volume state roughly since the February timeframe, late February, and that volume has remained somewhat elevated on the weekly timeframes. Obviously, the downside action adding to that volume as we get more and more selling pressure at some of those upper ranges, but overall, elevated volume throughout all of our sessions. Excuse me. So with our SPY in the position that it's in, we're simply looking for additional confirmation as to whether this market is going to remain in balance for continual weeks or possibly for just a couple of shorter intraday sessions. Or can we get some sort of confirmation to move away from value? And when we look at value, we see that this market certainly likes this particular area. We've seen a lot of sessions building balance and value in the past. We've seen the market break down from this area, leading to downside volatility. We've seen back checks and tests of this area on the bounces. So this area has shown itself as sort of a resistance zone. And as we're trading below this area, we're simply looking to see, can the market get above it? So far, the market has not been able to. And what we have is a range defined, somewhat of a trading range where we can have very clear highs and lows. We know that as the market gets into these spots, we expect reactions. These reactions should either be facilitative of a turnaround, and this would be indicative of some sort of failed breakout at the top end of the range, failed breakdown at the bottom end of the range. And as this continues, the market will simply build more energy in this zone until at some point there will be some catalyst, some reason for the market to move away from value. It may not be news related, it may not even be something that can be quantified, but ultimately that will occur at some point, and we will see a large range expansion from this point, hopefully in such a way that we can capture some of that, that momentum. So as we look at our SPY coming into this week, we simply want to note where we are and where we've been. So far, the market has checked back at the 50-period moving average on the daily twice. We see that this is a pretty clear definition of support at this time, but each of these attempts to bounce has been met with selling pressure near this sort of value zone that we've been marking. This is where the market likes to sit and just simply balance itself out. And so far, we have not been able to get above this. As we dig into our 4-hour, we see ultimately the market is trying to climb its way out of this zone in the bullish thesis perspective. We do have a 4-hour 200 period moving average. So far, that has acted as a short-term area of support in some of the pre-market and Friday's intraday session. If we can start to clear this zone, we can certainly look to check back at other areas where the market has failed to expand higher. Something like this zone here, which sits slightly above 420, and then of course our all-time high on the SPY. But at this time, the issue is similar to what we've been discussing with other markets like IWM, where if you throw up something like a volume profile, you'll see that a lot of trading volume has been traded around 415 to 416 area, creating our volume point of control, or VPOC. And this is true on something as large as an 180-day 4-hour time frame, with VPOC sitting essentially where the price is today, along with a shorter time frame. Even though VPOC is slightly adjusted, it's still somewhere around the 415 area. So we have a market that is struggling to move away from this value zone and is simply testing upside and downside ranges as it's building this energy. Obviously, some sector rotation occurring that facilitates some of the volatility to the downside, most notably tech and discretionaries. And then obviously a return back to the upside when things either stabilize or rotate back into some of the stronger sectors, things like financials, industrials, and staples as of late. We also have healthcare standing out, making a new all-time high. So in this market, one thing to consider as we move into next week is using this particular example of what this market is doing as sort of a guidebook or some sort of blueprint for adjusting your trading style. A lot of us have been, I would say, fortunate to have traded through one of the strongest bull markets in the course of a period of just a year through 2020. And in that bull market, a lot of opportunities were straightforward. We had a trend. We bought pullbacks on the trend. We bought breakouts of previous swing highs, and we were rewarded with momentum and continued upside. That was the theme based around 2020. After the election, that continued to be the case, but there were other sectors that maybe offered better risk to reward. We saw value come in as opposed to the straightforward growth, speculative, and other generic sort of recovery-based sectors, things that tend to expand well in an economy that is notably weak. So that rotation did occur. We've seen a lot of upside already in those sectors, and we're seeing how much further they have to go. But as the SPY is concerned, and specifically over the past month, look to these points in time and note when you see these ranges starting to define themselves, when you see a lack of follow through both to the upside or to the downside as we sort of fail to move higher, but catch ourselves on things like trend lines and dynamic moving averages. How can you as a trader take advantage of these opportunities in the market where things are not necessarily directional? They are swing highs, swing lows, ranges that define clear risk to reward parameters, and simply using these levels to build a new sort of trading plan that is not so much about buying low, selling high, or buying high and selling higher, which is sort of the atypical bullish trend, uptrend sort of structure that we've come from. So with our SPY in this position, it is possible that this sort of trading structure will continue. We may not see a lot of follow through on breakouts. We may not see a lot of resistances get broken with a ton of follow through before having to come all the way back to where the bounce occurred, where support and demand existed in the past. So use these ranges to your advantage. And if the ranges do expand and do break in either direction, know that these can be very powerful moves because there's a ton of value sitting in this area. And a move away from that value can lead to multiple sessions to the upside or to the downside. So as we dig into some other areas today, we started with our SPY. We look at Qs. We start on our weekly perspective. We note that the Qs have been weaker than the SPY at this time. We've got a slight close above our weekly 20 period moving average. We've also been able to close above 325, which was an area in the past that acted as a strong resistance before breaking out and leading us to a new all-time high. Obviously, that did fail roughly as a double top at this time, but this area mid-range is important, and certainly closing above, being able to move away from this area can lead to more upside momentum as we've seen in the past. We have our daily perspective where the Qs are somewhat choppy. We're seeing rejections from the 20 period on the daily. This 20 period is notably starting to slope downward. We also have the 50, which so far has not been cleared. We've traded below it at this time and this market has not used it as an area of support. Our only saving grace so far has been the trend line. This trend line acted as a nice bounce over the past week and so far has not been retested on this bounce attempt. So far so good, but we do have notable resistance above and a lot of struggle for this market to sort of get back into the normal bullish perspective. 4 hour, we see that the clearing of that 325 zone, we have some double bottom support from the previous volatility over the past couple of weeks. We also have this previous inflection high. This zone is an area of support so long as we're coming from above. We see that we do have a reaction on it, and we also have our downtrend as a general guide. So as long as the Qs are able to hold this zone, we do have some potential to bounce from here, obviously to test the previous swing high in this perspective, and then to potentially go and test this double bottom support, which did facilitate a new all-time high and a double top before collapsing. So there are some opportunities within this range, and so far we have been fortunate to have found some support on the trend line, which has brought us through this previous resistance turning into support. If we look at our 4 hour volume profile, we want to also take those same volume profile concepts into the QQQ. We see that VPOC on the Qs is sitting lower in the 180-day 4 hour time frame. We note that this move away from value could be facilitative of more upside so long as some of our key levels do hold. But we are staying cautious to the fact that this market has underperformed in past weeks. And there is additional pressure with things like a rising interest rate, which so far has continued to either be stable or move slightly higher in recent weeks. And then our 1 hour perspective for more shorter term trades, the Qs did come from a overextended range area. We did break through the VA low. This tends to be more of a probabilistic opportunity for going long. And then obviously you're making very conservative targets as this is a short-term time frame. you're looking at coming back to VA low, coming back into your range, and then depending on where VPOC sits, you can even target things like VPOC. This market has more to prove than to look at VPOC at this time. So we are looking at this double bottom as sort of the upper target for a bounce occurring this pre-market. Okay, our IWM, we note that on the weekly so far, this weekly perspective is more and more facilitative of distribution. Similar to the SPY, the IWM has not been able to do much over the past couple of weeks, but even more notable than the SPY, the IWM has not been able to do much over the past couple of months. So buying the IWM back in early 2021 has led to almost a 0% return inside of this index ETF. And it showcases that our ranges up here are quite large. We haven't seen follow through from low to high. And so far we are trapped right in the middle of this range. Additionally, price action is starting to trade below our daily 50 and 20 period moving averages. We're actually seeing rejections of these moving averages so far. And I would say that if you're looking at this market, you want to be very cautious of a break of this trend line. If you're a bull, you certainly do not want to see this start to roll over, as the structure on the weekly is not facilitative of a lot of support. You have a pretty significant drop zone in this area, and this can be seen with volume profile. There simply is not a lot of value built on this move higher. So if this is distribution, if market participants are buying and selling shares up here, essentially taking profits after a large bull run, then you do want to be careful of the next phase if this were to turn into a markdown type of market. And that would, obviously lead us to lower prices inside the IWM. But short term, we have held our trend. Short term, we are looking at this downtrend. So far, no momentum, very similar to all of our other markets where we had a selling day on Friday. This one's posture is certainly more bearish, as we have not been able to clear things as simple as our daily moving averages. And then our IWM showing a lot of ability to reject some of our lower time frame moving averages as well. The 200 period on the 4 hour showing a lot of resistance. And then short term, just looking at where value sits, we know that things in the IWM have a strong gravitational pull towards VPOC, and VPOC at this time still remains roughly 221. No matter how far back you pull this perspective, you will see that VPOC is sitting at 220 to 221. And this is indicative of a distributive market, because market participants who are buying and selling in this range want to keep the price stable while they exchange shares. So if this is the case and the market cannot break through and start to move away from VPOC to the upside, well, at some point this may eventually be a shift in supply and demand. And if the supply overtakes the demand, we may see lower prices in the IWM. Obviously, time will tell, but so far the structure here is looking very close to what we expect. And then finally, just a quick touch back on the Dow. As it is Monday, we do want to kind of look and see what's strong, what's weak, where are opportunities still arising. The Dow so far has been one of our stronger indexes. We've seen things like range expansion, a little bit of overall consolidation, but a lot of general strength, as we have not even been able to pull back to things like our weekly 20 period moving average. Excuse me. This is also due to the fact that the Dow does contain a lot of our strong inflationary related sectors or reflationary based trading sectors. Certainly want to continue to look at things like financials as interest rates show additional strength to the upside, and industrials. Whether or not there's still upside baked into them, we will see. But so far, the Dow has been sort of a standout performer in a lot of our previous sessions. Daily, we do have very clear range definition. We have this failed range expansion, which brought us back to the low end of the range. But notably, we did not fail to break through and struggle with volatility below this point. So far we have 50 period support. Also notable that this is the first test of the 50 period, as opposed to subsequent tests on the SPY and the Qs. Those are indicative of slightly a bit of weakness. Usually if you come to the 50, you want to see it move away quickly and facilitate either a new swing high or some sort of structure that never has to test it again. So the more times you have to test this area, it tends to be showcasing a bit of weakness, as the follow through is simply not there. And as we get into this week, I certainly would like to see this previous, I would say, swing low, or sorry, daily lower high be cleared on this 50 period bounce. And let me double check on the SPY. That's essentially what we're trying to do at this point on the SPY without any of the volume related analysis. So we had a downdraft, a lower high that was set, and essentially a double test of this low. And then so far we have not been able to clear it. The Dow, very similar, low to high, second low, testing the 50. We want to see it clear this previous lower high before we can really start to target some higher areas. But so far, so good. This bounce has been met with a lot of volume, and so far, a decent amount of follow through. So, some other things to always be watching, and just a note as we enter the week, dollar index still weak overall. We are seeing some compression near support. Certainly want to watch this in the short term, but we will likely see a reaction if it were to break bullish on a shorter time frame. And on the daily time frame, we will simply see a close above this area of compression. So far, all it's doing is just putting in a bunch of inside candles and not really a ton of follow through to the upside nor the downside, hence the compression. Things like bonds, TLT, TNX, just watching to see if we start to move in either direction. So far, we're sitting pretty much mid-range. Don't want to make any call outs at this time, as things can sort of shift on a dime. But if we do have a day where something notable does occur, we will mark that and start to watch what the reaction is in the equities market. Things like gold, we'll look at GC for the futures contracts, continuing that bullish drift so far on a weak dollar. This has been the case since these March lows. We even had our double bottom support. We're starting to break this larger channel structure, and really just keeping on watch to see, can this continue, or is this a good spot to consider taking profits? Depends obviously on your time frame and your trade perspective, but gold has been an outperformer in the past couple of weeks with not a lot of pullback, which is nice amidst the volatility. Same idea with silver. So far, silver holding trend, getting into some notable resistance, but the reactions have been fairly muted. We see pullbacks to the trend, coming into maybe a little bit of compression. It's likely that if the dollar were to break down further, silver may have enough energy to break out. If the dollar continues to hold, silver may do little to nothing as it waits for confirmation on the dollar. And then crude pull back to our range high. We saw this channel finally break down as we could not get above this downtrend resistance. We are back testing this channel low trend. And so far, so good. This structure is acting as normal, but clear warning signs would be a loss of this range high support, and also some warning signs if we can't get back into trend, this could chop around in this sort of 62 to 65 range for a period of time. And essentially, we don't want to be trading crude or energy stocks if there's not a clear direction, maybe just looking for opportunities if it were to break in either direction. And then natural gas failing to expand. Very notable monthly downtrend that it continues to sort of struggle with on the shorter term. We saw the break of 3, the lack of follow through, and now a collapse back to our downtrend potential support. We will see if this acts as an area of support or if it does have to come back into our lower dynamic support areas like the moving averages. So, so with that, we definitely need to continue and see where are opportunities in this market. If the market continues to be range bound, we know where our range highs, our range lows sit. Those can offer some really great risk to reward, but I would say that most of the time they are short term in terms of their trade perspective. So if you're pulling really deeply into a large support zone, think about using that as a short-term trade, allowing for the profit potential to maybe be a little bit less. So more short-term targets, or just not as aggressive of targets to the upside. Use that as your first part of your trade, and then potentially leave a piece on and allow the market to tell you where it's going to go from that point forward. So we saw the SPY, that double bottom trending support. So far, so good. We saw the Qs using the trend line. So far, so good. May have a bit of upside left in it. Allow the market to also tell you if that support structure is no longer in play. If you see warning signs of things starting to fall apart, if we ever come back and check those recent lows, and specifically if we start to close below them, it is the market telling us that, hey, this is no longer in play. We may be moving away from VPOC, and those large VPOCs that we do have, specifically in the SPY, they can lead to a lot of downside if we move away from them aggressively. So with that in mind, as a trader, use these areas as key levels, define your risk based around them, and obviously if things start to corrode against your trade, look to start to stop out, or maybe just to partial out, not be as heavy in your position sizing. And then as an investor, you may also be looking to hedge in periods like this. Obviously, this chop can continue for a while. We may break to new all-time highs in the near term. There certainly is some early signs that some of the momentum is returning, but we need to get above some of these notable value zones in the market. We have to break them and move above them. So far, we haven't done that. So if you're concerned with your potential unrealized profits, you're looking to maybe just hedge in the case of continued downside, don't be afraid of looking at some volatility hedges, maybe doing some inverse beta plays, things that go up in the case of a market going down, or just look at what sectors may outperform in the case of we do get strong bounces but start to sell as a market. You know, I'm keeping an eye on things like utilities. So far, this market has been an outperformer from low to high periods, and has pulled back significantly. Potential sort of bull flag structure. We have a channel that may be about to break out. There may be more upside in this sector. I'm looking at strong sectors that may be getting stronger. things like healthcare making a new all-time high. Hasn't closed at a new all-time high, but is notable that in a market mid-range, healthcare is at its previous highs. So definitely something to watch and to keep in mind. And then subsequently, some of the beaten down sectors are or is money starting to flow back into these sectors, not for all-time highs, not for anything significant, but sort of a value play, something that's pulled back, anywhere from 30 to 50% from its highs. There may be some upside potential. Think things like solar, biotech, and some of the growth names that have not been looked at in quite a while from the market. Maybe starting to get a little bit of love in the short term. But with that said, I'm Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. Obviously, trade safe. Look at a market that's sort of range bound, starting to consolidate a bit, and we'll see if there's any opportunities starting to show themselves in our first session of the week. Stay tuned for pre-market prep, and we'll talk more tomorrow.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hope you had a great weekend. Good morning, Noam. How are you doing, brother?
Hey, good morning, man. I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing good, man. Doing good. A little bit tired from all the
Yeah,
weekend
likewise.
activities, but aside from that, doing very well. Guys, happy birthday to Jared. Jared's birthday was on
Oh, wow.
Saturday,
Happy birthday,
so
buddy.
happy birthday, my friend. Hope you had an amazing time and hope you enjoy yourself there. So happy birthday to you. Let's give him a big happy birthday in the chat room. Big thumbs up for his engineering the markets every day, Monday through Friday when the market is open at 8 a.m. So with that said, guys, let's get into what we have here first. Let's look at our overall spy, just kind of get an idea what's happening here. Norm, we know we had an amazing, crazy week last week. And you can
Yep.
see it here on the daily, right? How
It's
quiet it
all over the
was.
place, isn't it?
And look at it now, right? Just last week you saw the madness. So
hmm
what do we have coming up?
Well, no economic data today, so nothing on that front. I think we're just gonna, I'm not gonna dig too deep as Jared just did, but I think we'll see which way this market tries to resolve. We're getting right to the beginning of summer trading, which can be a little slow, and we've got Bitcoin in play, obviously. That's been in the news the last couple of weeks and trying to pop up this morning. Most of our watch list is comprised of that stuff. So go from there.
Yeah, we sure will. Chris MC mentioned that our spy looks like a foreign daily,
It's
and
pretty bad, isn't it?
it is pretty bad. So yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. You're absolutely right. All right, guys, let's get to it. We have a bit in the green and a bit in the red, and obviously in the green, Bitcoin just taking everything here. Riot, Mara, and Coin. One coin's different, but all the other cryptocurrencies here doing pretty well. This morning, up 4% approximately. Space up huge 20%. Fuel just coming in now up 2%. And then we got a couple in the red down 47%. Low flow down 8%. And Tau, which normally doesn't trade all that well. We know Tau from the past, down 3.5. So pretty decent sized list this morning. I do have a couple of things in here at the top. We have the SPY here, which we're tracking. See where that goes today. The Qs, and also we have Bitcoin. Bitcoin obviously having a big start of their day right now, up nicely 8.6. So let's get to it. Let's look at space. Space definitely in play. We saw a couple of great days last week out of this one. You see the volume starting to come in now and create some good activity, some good intraday action there. This morning already up 20%. Not the best pre-market activity, but after 7, we're starting to see some action here that looks pretty decent. So space definitely in play, guys. I'm going to add that on here.
I'll point this out. I don't have
Mhm.
shares for short on this, so
Oh, thanks for
we'll
pointing that out. I
see.
didn't
Yeah,
notice.
we'll see how it goes. They had their first successful rocket launch in 2 years, which has popped them up, and that was in the news last week and popped them up sometimes some of the days. So we'll see if it holds.
Yeah, because they have not been doing all that well, guys. If you look at the bigger picture, they've been down since from 60 all the way down to about 25. Try to recover and then slamming back down all the way down. The low is 14. So up 25, $10 from that lowest most recent point. Definitely in play, guys. Great pre-market action right now. Great volume, 6.1. When this one is in play, you're going to see great volume. It's a shame that we don't have shares for short on this one, but it's still one to keep on deck this morning. Here's Mara today. Mara at the moment is up 3.9, 84,000 shares traded. Riot is on here as well. Coin is moving up as well. Again, all three of them just moving the right way this morning. So I like Mara so far. I think their pre-market action looks very good. Riot, you can either watch either one of these two, look great. So I'll put Mara as my main one this morning. Do we have shares for short? We do. Do we have plenty? 1.4 million shares. So that's not bad. That's not bad for Mara. So we got pretty good stuff there. I'm going to add Riot as a secondary list because I'm looking at their pre-market action. They also look good this morning. So looking pretty good right now, also with great volume. Coin is on here as well, guys. Trading well in the pre-market right now, up 3.4, 250,000 shares traded. Now, I'm not going to add it to my list because this one, it trades a little bit funky. You got to be very, very careful. Is nowhere near as clean as Mara and Riot are. The spread could be brutal at times. Just be mindful of that when it comes to this one, right? But definitely in play. We'll put it on here. I won't keep it as we fine tune the list, but we'll add it on here for later this morning. Just take a second look at that. PLTR making an appearance here. They are up 2.4, looking good this morning. Nice little pop here above the previous high of the pre-market at 21.10, above the highs from the last couple of days as well. So that's looking good this morning. Getting some good action right now. PLTR, we'll add that on there. CCIV, this one not looking all that great. They're up 2%. Their pre-market action is started to get going here on 8 o'clock. You're seeing a little bit more volume. Outside of that, it doesn't look great. Their daily, though, looks a little bit interesting. Possible breakout at this previous day close here. Maybe a continuation. We'll have to see. Possible maybe for now. CCIV. We saw FuelCell come up here and disappeared. Let's just take a quick look at it. They're up 2%. Again, possible continuation. We're going to see a lot of stocks falling into this category where they were beat up quite a bit last week and the week before. They're trying to recover now, especially with the market moving up. Some of these stocks looking to, kind of grab onto that tailcoat and push up as well. Right now, at the moment, pre-market action is not looking all that great. So we'll skip on it for now. ANVS, this was here earlier today as well, up 1.4. Lower flow stock sitting at 4.1 million. Definitely great pre-market action. Let's look at Friday's action, guys. This thing ran out from 35 when it opened up around 35, 37. Ran up to 100 and slammed back down to 60. So it just kind of tells you what kind of stock this is. And we'll look at the action from Friday. Be very, very careful, guys. Yes, you can make a lot of money. You can also lose a lot of money. Just be careful. Yeah, just be careful with this. They're so unpredictable too. That's the thing about these lower flow stocks. 4.1 moving like this is scary stuff. We'll put it here as a low flow of the day. What was it? ANVS? Yeah, there it is. It disappeared from the scanners again because it's below 2%. But they're definitely in play, guys. 1.1. This is the low flow of the day. But just again, be very, very careful. I wouldn't take huge shares on this. Even if I was going to trade this, I'll hesitate to take 100 shares on this thing just because of the way it moves. So be very, very careful. All right, here we go. Gapping down this morning. NGM. This one doesn't look great. Huge gap down 47%, kind of moving sideways a little bit now. The float on this one, 25 million. Their daily is horrible. They don't get great volume. Today, they're trading actually more volume than they do on a regular basis. It's a horrible daily. I'm not sure what the catalyst is this morning that's dropping this one.
It's a biotech with phase 2 study news on some drug, I believe. So,
Okay, gotcha. So we'll put it as a possible, guys. I love that catalyst, but again, it's just not trading all that well right now. That could get better, hopefully, at the market open. But if you look at their daily, mostly these biotech companies, this is what they look like. They don't do a whole lot with almost no volume. News like this breaks out, and they can, gap down huge or gap up huge as well. We'll see if this one provides any opportunity, but right now it's not looking great. Spread is horrible. Lower flow stock at around 25 million. We'll see where it goes. Moxie, this one here is down 7%. Pre-market action is not looking great. This one has been insane over the last couple of weeks, as you can see here, breaking out of $7 and just really just taking off. We're seeing 2 red days finally for the first time in some time here. That was Friday, and then today we're seeing another red day down 7%. But just look at the pre-market action right now, guys. This thing is not looking clean. Even with this big move, we're not moving a whole lot of volume. Lower flow stock at 15.8. So we'll put it here in our low flow pile for now. Again, just the volume. We need a lot more volume for the type of float that we're seeing now. Here's Tau. Tau normally doesn't trade very well. It's not a great intraday trading stock. Their volume is very light for the most part. On Friday, they had quite a decent volume, 17 million for this stock. It's a lot because if you look at the daily down here, it's not a whole lot that they're moving there. So right now, pre-market action, guys, looks horrible. We were down 4% with only 142,000 shares traded. That's just not enough for this stock. So if it gets better, throw it back out to us. We'll come back to it. Let's look at XEC. This one this morning down 2.4, 206,000 shares traded with a horrible daily, guys. Just look at the way this thing is moving here, and you're not getting over 1.7 on volume. So I'm concerned that although we might be looking at a breakdown possibly to get to 67, it just might not be pretty. So I'm going to skip on it. I don't think this is worth even having as a possible, really. So just be careful with this one. All right, that is all we have on our gapless list. Norm, anything you like this morning?
No, I'm still looking, man, and hopefully we can find some great suggestions from the room here.
Yeah, looking forward to that as well, guys. Let's start over here with who do we have? Ross D is giving us CREX. All right, Ross, let's see what you got. CREX. Yeah, more of a penny type stock right now. They got great volume, guys, up 36.6. I'm just concerned with this daily. Look at the way this thing trades. What's the float on this also? Is it a low float?
4 million, I think.
4 million? 7. Yes, there's a lower flow stocks. I'm concerned with the way it's moving now. I think if you want to look at a low flow, again, ANVS is looking a little bit cleaner. Still got to be very careful with that one. But I just don't as a low flow, I don't see anything great on CREX right now. Can it get better? Absolutely. We can watch it. We can watch it here, see if anything changes. But for the most part, you want to be very careful with this one. So CREX, we'll throw it on here. CREX, we'll put that on there for now. Heading down, what else do we have, guys? Let's take a look here. We got Hans is giving us Mara. Yeah, Mara we have on deck. That's a good one. That's active today again. Up 5.1 right now with 675. So that looks good. Nvidia this morning. Let's take a look there. And we'll watch the apples and all that. We'll add those on there. Nvidia right now up another 1.3. Nvidia's been crushing it the last couple of days, guys. It's doing very, very well. I do like this for a possible continuation. You don't want to put too much weight on Nvidia's pre-market action. They tend not to do the best pre-market action, but they still can trade very, very well. If you look at the daily level they're hitting here, this could be interesting if we can get above that, right? Obviously, clearly a great area of resistance. We saw that a couple of months back. We saw how that became great support once we broke out of that. So again, if we can break out of here, but if we can continue, but again, we have done well the last couple of 3 days. Yes, this is a red day on Friday, but we gapped up huge. So, still considers a very, very strong stock with the way we've seen the move the last couple of days. So we'll add Nvidia on here, guys. Again, it could be better pre-market action, but I think they could be interesting. With that said, we're going to look at Apple as well. Apple's one that we like to keep an eye on. Right now, they're not doing a whole lot. Their volume's slightly on the lighter side of things. So maybe a possible for now. If it gets better, we can always move this up. We'll throw Apple on there. Heading on down, American Airlines. Let's see what's going on there. I don't think they're really in play, guys. Very light on volumes. I'm not seeing anything on American Airlines. I'm not seeing much. CCL, interesting. The way it's moving right now, still needs more volume. I just don't think they are in play at the moment. All right, let's head on down, guys. Tesla. What do we have here? Tesla right now, again, very light on volume as well. Just kind of moving sideways a little bit. Not really up much neither. So I think it'll be interesting a little bit. Maybe later down the trading day as things settle out with the SPY and what's going to happen. Maybe this will do something. But right now, it's not looking too interesting at the moment. We'll take a close look at NEO as well. And if we look at NEO, what do we have here? NEO, it's another one. Yeah, they're not doing a whole lot, guys. They're pretty quiet right now as far as those. BYND, let's take a look there. BYND this morning, they're up 4%. Why is my, come on, there we go. Here it is. BYND this morning, guys, up 4%.
Beyond the meat.
Beyond the meat, but horrible pre-market action, which is okay. They tend to have this horrible pre-market action and still put in a decent trading day for the way, again, I say decent trading day for the way this stock trades, right? Because
they got an analyst upgrade this morning.
They did. Nice. So there's not the best intraday trading stock, but we'll see if this analyst, this catalyst can move this thing up here. It is up 4.1. Volume is just very light, guys. So I'm not going to add it on my list. If it gets better, throw it back out to me. Heading down, we're looking at Viacom. Let's see what's going on there. VIAC this morning. Yeah, you know what? I'm not a fan of it right now. It's been struggling to get above this 42, and it's been giving really choppy price action, guys. We've seen that every market open here. We actually had some good hopes here on this day. If you guys, I think it was Thursday or Wednesday, I can't remember. But again, pre-market action looked interesting. It's just look at the chop. It just didn't trade well at the open. It got better later in the afternoon. In the afternoon, if you guys remember, but the open was horrible. Same thing the following day. Yeah, it's just pure chop again. Again, it is a very choppy type stock. I think it is trying to get going here and head to some of these price targets that it had in the past. But for that reason, I'm just not going to add it. I just don't have hope that it's going to trade very well. It's such a hit and miss type stock. We can wait for it to hit our scanners. Maybe it's just breaking high of day or something and not moving sideways. Spaces is in play, guys. We do have that one on deck. 6.5 right now, up 20%. This volume just cruising in there very nice. Nvidia we have, so that's good. Let's look at Ride this morning. What do we have there? Ride's daily is interesting, guys. Kind of putting an ABCD pattern right on here. Maybe a possible breakout. Pre-market action is a little bit light right now, only 88,000, up 3.7. Yeah, we'll have to skip on it for now. It's just too light on the volume. AMC has earnings when? When do they have earnings? No, they had earnings some time ago. So you mean Ride earnings? Is that what you're saying, Bill? All right, so AMC right now, looking at it, volume is good, 750,000. Pre-market action is very choppy. This is a very unpredictable stock to trade. At the moment, their daily looks to be holding this 12. We tested that 2 days last week, Thursday and Friday. Maybe a possible support coming up here back to 13 or so. But again, it's just such an unpredictable stock here, and it could be so choppy at times. It's very heavily manipulated, as we saw last week with that breakout, right? Any other stock would have broken out of that. I think it was 1450 level that we were looking for. Yeah, right here. And it was just, how well it was being manipulated every single time, just dropping huge. Be careful with this one. All right, so that is AMC. We'll put it as a possible, though. I think there still could be some potential there. Let's look at work. What do we have as far as work? No, I don't see no action here and work right now, at least at the moment. Daily is interesting for possible breakout, but the pre-market is pretty light right now. CAN is one that we have looked at in the past, but if you want to play Bitcoin, guys, I think Mara and Riot can give you better opportunities. CAN at times, it can be a little bit, can have less volume. Price action is not as clean as the
Can's got some. It's got some other issues going on with it as well.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to play Bitcoin, I would stay away from this one and pick one of the others. You've got plenty to choose from.
Yeah, absolutely. It was Can and this other one, BTBT. They tend not to be great at intraday trades, right? So I will stick with the other two for now. All right, let's take a look, guys. What else we have? XEC. We did look at that one, I believe. XEC. Are merging with Oh, Cabot Oil and Gas. All right, so we could see how that merger plays out. Sometimes that can trade decent at times.
Mhm.
Again, I just think you still got to be careful with this one. We'll see. We'll see.
That's ugly. And the spread's not good either. You got a 55-cent spread right now.
Yeah, see that's
Not
just
much
not going to be
volume going
good.
on. Yeah, watch
Yeah,
out for that.
that's not gonna be good at all, guys. All right, let's do a few more here. NCLH. What do we have? Pre-market action. Yeah, I don't think these are in play right now, guys. So the travel, the airlines, and the cruise lines are pretty quiet. They're moving sideways. They're up, between less than 2% or so at the moment. Can they get better later? Yes, we'll keep an eye on them. We have the scanners up with trade ideas in the room. We can take a look if things hit the turbo breakup, break of 5 day, high volume type stuff. Or my favorite one, because it's the easiest one, is when somebody calls something out in the community and we can take advantage of it. So if you're watching these, if you have space, definitely call something out if you see something. But right now, I don't see anything great for the most part. Thor is really good at watching these, by the way. So he'll call something out. He's usually watching these tickers, American Airlines, CCL, and he'll call something for us out as well. So we appreciate that. Again, the power of being part of a community. All right, let's take a look at a few more guys. JZXN. JZXN. Ooh, no, I don't like this one. Recent IPO here, guys. Pre-market action is really all over the place at the moment. Yes, they're up 7%. That looks nice. But outside from that, I'm not seeing anything great on this one. And the fact that, again, this thing's just been getting slammed here. The fact it's a recent IPO, we don't have a lot to go by here. It is trying to hold here. This the $8 mark, this previous day close, so that could be interesting. But this is just not a stock that I normally would trade. So I will stay away from it. Again, just based on my trade book and the way I trade, this is not one that would be on there for a lot of reasons. So
Got 99 problems, and that ticker is not one.
there you go. All right, heading down the list, guys. Let's look at SQ, and we'll stop here with the last one. We'll look at some over in our YouTube chat as well. SQ at the moment, they are 217,000 shares traded, up 1.5. Yeah, this could be interesting. I do like their daily here. Again, finding support at 200. Can they stay above this? Is any news out? They're starting to move rather active the last couple of minutes.
I don't know if there's been any recent news that's come out. I know that they've been moving on Bitcoin the last few days. I haven't seen anything come out since we've been on, but could have missed it. It's easy to miss things when we're sitting here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you said it too. Bitcoin could be the reason why they're moving like that this morning as well. I'm putting them up here. Guys, they're up 1.5, 223 with some volume coming in the last 30 minutes or so. All right, let's take a few from YouTube, guys. What do we have here? BYND we did look at. Does not look great right now. mRNA, let's take a look at that one. mRNA, okay, if I could type.
Isn't that a Disney movie, Miranda? Is that?
It is Miranda. Miranda is the name of one of the Disney characters.
It's not a ticker.
But it's not a ticker. That's right. What do we have here, guys? We're up 1.4, 44,000 shares traded. So the volume is too light on this one right now. So again, we'll skip on it. I think we could find something a lot better. AMC we did look at. BYND we did look at. EVDB. I don't think we ever heard of this one. That's not coming up for me. So let's just check that ticker there. Plug was fun last week, guys. The last 2 weeks, Plug gave us some pretty good days. Right now, again, a lot of tickers this morning, guys. Just kind of had a little run last week. They did very well towards the end of the week. They're just kind of flat right now, trying to figure out what's next, right? Plug is one of them. We're not seeing great volume. We're not seeing it gap up or down, and we're seeing a lot of them like this. We saw NEO, which has been good. Same thing, right? Pretty much flat right now. Tesla, same situation. Pretty much flat right now at the moment. Even Apple as well. Again, just pretty much flat right now. Just trying to figure out what is next. And one thing we got to keep an eye on, guys, is the SPY, right? If the SPY starts showing some strength here, we start breaking out towards this 422 and higher. A lot of these tickers like the PLTRs, the Apples of the world, the Neos, these things can start moving. But right now, they're just not worth adding to our list unless the SPY can get going. Ugo, yes, you got it. There it is. I've seen that movie so many times. My daughter loves it. So I think I know some of the lines by memory. All right, what else do we have, guys? I think we'll stop here. Let's go over to our community event, and we'll come back. And today's Mindful Monday, so we do have Dr. Jonathan Katz with us right after the announcements.
All right, we'll start with a quick weekly rundown. What we do usually is have Brian in the chat room about 2:30 on Mondays. He's there more days than not, with COVID and Canada being shut down largely. So 2:30 today. Hopefully we'll see Brian. Then your onboarding and technology classes are live every Monday night, 8 p.m. Is the start of that. Tuesdays and Thursdays you've got the trade review with Eamon at noon in the classroom. Success webinars on Tuesday night, psychology webinars on Wednesday night. And then we've got Andrew's new mentoring session that he does in the webinar room Thursdays at 11 a.m. And then Thor's mentoring Thursday night, 8 p.m. All right. Speaking of Thor, tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, you're going to have him talking about how he uses volume price analysis and ranges to avoid getting stuck in chop. We've been seeing some choppy price action recently. He's going to talk about how to avoid it. Then next week, we've got Jared. Happy birthday once again, Jared. That'll be Tuesday, 8 p.m. He's going to be going through some of the technicals he uses and everything for that engineering the market segment. He's been killing the last, it's been a month or so, I guess now. So anyway, he'll be doing that next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Then this Wednesday, 8 p.m., you've got a town hall with Dr. Katz. This format, he will take 2 traders from the community and have a psychological discussion with them. The rest of the community will watch on, ask questions and such. So that'll be this Wednesday at 8. I believe next week is Dr. Reed. That will be updated for you guys, hopefully for tomorrow. Get more info on that one. If you want to participate in the member trade of the day, trade of the week, take a screenshot of your best trade of the day, mark it up, post it on Twitter. Obviously, it should have entries and exits, and then any commentary you can add to describe the trade, tag at Bearable Traders. That might be _BBT and at NormBBT. Also use the hashtags BBT Family, Day Trading and Stock Market. Will announce the winner each afternoon on Twitter, and then the team will vote on all of the trades of the day that week and vote over the weekend, and we'll announce the trade of the week on Monday. If you're watching YouTube and would like to try out the chat room, use the promo code PREMARKET24. It'll get you a discount off the intro membership, which is 7 calendar days, 5 trading days in the chat. Does not auto renew or turn into any other kind of membership. Just cancels after that, and you can decide if you'd like to become a regular member. And also, if you're looking to either become an elite member or upgrade your membership, use the promo code Memorial40. That'll get you 40% off the elite annual membership. Dr. Katz.
Norm, my man, how are you today?
I'm good, sir. You're missing some of the rain. I see the sunshine behind you. It looks nice. So
Yes.
you've evacuated the rainy area known as Texas for the last month. Anyway, I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a great weekend. You are going to talk about us with what coping with stress of trading, I believe. Take it away.
I think I have a few parts on this. I just gave a presentation to the PCT boot camp, and I know this is a common theme here, so I thought I would revisit it over a few of our Monday mindfulness sessions over the next few weeks. Yeah, coping with pressure and stress associated with trading, is something that every trader kind of deals with. And what I first wanted to bring up is, what is pressure, stress, and distress? Pressure really is a psychological stressor that refers to the feelings an individual has about an upcoming competition or performance. And really, pressure can be intrinsic or internal, really created by us, the individual, with thoughts such as, I must perform well. It can also be affected by external and extrinsic factors, such as wanting to, end a trading day or a trading week green or positive. One of the challenges when coaching in a high intensity competitive field like trading is making sure that normal, expectable stress doesn't turn into kind of more performance-robbing distress. And this means for people the importance of distinguishing between the stressors that are really part and parcel of the trading profession and those that kind of we unwittingly place on ourselves. So the question then becomes, when and why does normal stress turn into distress? And I think, one of the there are a couple of factors I'll mention. One of them, of course, with trading is, risk and uncertainty, which is, of course, part of trading. That in itself, risk and uncertainty, we've all faced this with the pandemic, is stressful. And that's something that's inherent in trading. So if you don't like or want any stress in your life, I don't mean to be Debbie Downer here, but trading is probably not for you. So I would hope that everybody here recognizes that some of that risk and uncertainty and stress is associated with trading. But let's kind of separate and not confuse stress with distress. Not all psychological stress brings distress, and not all psychological stress is bad. Stress can really help performance, but if it becomes distress, it really interferes with good decision making when you're trading. So stress can really mobilize the mind and the body, and it can facilitate performance. I mean, that's the hope. Our interpretations of situations can often turn normal stress into distress. So if you view your trading loss, kind of, for instance, as a natural part of trading, that's fine. But if you don't accept or view this, that's when it becomes distress. So really, the goal is to learn to embrace stress and always work at trying to keep it from leading to distress. And listen, one of the most elementary but important aspects of keeping stress within a reasonable range where it can be helpful and not turn into distress is preparation. That is key. If you are prepared for adversity, you will respond with normal stress and not distress. So that often means everything from getting your technology straight, reading stuff, being prepared, getting enough sleep. Preparation, there's no way around preparation. If you're not prepared, you're likely to have stress turn into distress. And you really want to use your emotions as a barometer of the degree to which you are meeting or falling short of your expectations, because your emotions can tell you whether you're kind of feeling reasonable stress or moving into distress. And then you want to separate out kind of, actual versus perceived threats. Actual, threats are like markets may not behaving in a certain way, but you want to separate that out from your own perceived threats, which are your personal assumptions about things. And this can impact stress versus distress. And one of the good ways, as we've talked about a lot, of managing some of this is kind of the importance of journaling and taking note of the stress-distress continuum and whether you're managing that effectively. So in coming weeks, we'll talk a little bit about some of the symptoms of competitive stress, physical and psychological. And then following week, we'll get into some tips for dealing with pressure effectively. So that's what I got, Norm. And I know actually next Monday is a holiday. Yep. So we won't be meeting, but I wish everybody a good trading day, a good trading week, and a good, nice, hopefully relaxing, long holiday weekend next weekend.
Likewise, I hope you have a wonderful holiday. But before you, I will say the perfect quote is if you can't deal with stress, then trading probably isn't for you. Is about the truest statement I've ever heard, Doc.
Yeah. So again, I'm an optimist, but I'm a realist. I'm a realistic optimist. So sure. I think people have to kind of, recognize that for themselves. And listen, the truth is some people don't want stress as part of their lives. I get it. But then, you shouldn't be taking on something where an inherent integral part of the proposition is an aspect of stress.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Doc. Well, have a great couple of weeks and we'll see you soon. Take care.
Good enough, Norm. Be well.
Bye. You too.
Guys, let's get back to it. Let's give a big thumbs up to Dr. Katz, guys, for that session there. It's so informative. So thank you for that. All right, guys, let's get to it right now. Starting here with space, we have Mara, we have Coin, PLTR, Nvidia. I think if you want to move down, I think I'm going to move down. SQ is starting to look nice, by the way. I think I'm going to move down Coin again. This one could be so erratic at times on the way it trades. I'm going to move Coin down here. I think we can have something a little bit better to have on our main list. So we'll move that one down. We'll keep space. We'll keep Mara. PLTR is looking good, guys. Great pre-market action on PLTR, by the way. Probably one of the cleanest pre-market action this morning. Let's just hope it stays that way. We've seen what PLTR could do. Put in a beautiful pre-market action and then just chop his entire market open. So hopefully that's not the case. They also have a beautiful daily here too. Hoping that can continue on into the intraday this morning. Nvidia could be more of a possible, guys, but let's just go through the possibles list and see if we have something that we can replace that with. SQ starting to look very good. That's nice. Coin is on here. Riot and Mara, again, both in play. CCIV not doing a whole lot. We do like their daily here. NGM, this one could be interesting. I mean, it is down quite a bit, 43%. It could be interesting, especially if they start closing this gap, right? Obviously, they have some bad news. They're trading on very high volume this morning as far as what they usually do on a daily. They don't get a whole lot of volume here, around 200,000 or less. We'll see. We'll see where that goes. Again, guys, this thing can move quite a bit. The spread is 40 cents now. That's got to get better, or else, this is just not going to be a good one to even look at. I think Apple could be one to move up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5, so we can move Apple here. I think Apple, as always, is a good one to keep an eye on, especially with the way things are now. So we'll remove it from our secondary list. And I think there's a good, possibles list. AMC is starting to get going here. Now that is looking good on AMC, guys. We're getting a nice little breakout here with volume. We'll put AMC up here. We might have time to do levels for that as well. So we'll throw an AMC there. We'll do levels here. We might not keep it on there. Again, that stock can trade very well at times and then just be very manipulative in the way the price action is in some of these levels. But let's keep it on here. I do like the daily on it as well, guys. Holding on to this great level of support around 12, getting a little bounce off of that of 2.6 and volume starting to come in nicely in the last 10 minutes. So all right, let's do levels here. Let's start with Space. Space this morning, their high of their pre-market sitting all the way on at 28.75. Low of the pre-market 24.53. We'll throw 2 levels on there. Both of those levels playing really, really nice with the daily, guys. If you look at the daily here, you can see this one here finding in the gray area at 28.66. Great area of support right on there before it finally broke down. Then eventually gets down to this 24.57, which is your low of your pre-market now. Within the pre-market action, after 7 right on here, we're seeing a beautiful pre-market action, guys. So this is trading very, very well. We do not have shares for short, unfortunate, but we'll see. This thing is looking really strong right now. Let's see if we can find an opportunity towards the upside. The next level, guys, is very, very clear. If you look right on here, guys, great area of support and resistance, 31.81. Throw that level right on there, and then above they have another great level here at 33.96. Everyone's going to be looking at these levels, guys, because just look how many touches we have on here. Just plenty of support and resistance. So these are the levels you want to have on there in case we're going to be heading back up towards that pre-market high and then some. Now, in between the pre-market high and the pre-market low, we do have a great level of support before we got down. This 26.42. That's a good one there. I'm going to mark that down. And you can see in the pre-market action, we didn't have a whole lot of volume when this was happening, but you can see right on here, guys, great area of support. It did try to hold this. Once it couldn't, you see that the drop here comes back. That now becomes support. And then look at the drop, and here starts trading better. Volume starts coming in later in the pre-market, of course, and we're getting great pre-market action, getting a nice little bounce. It's up $1 and change from the pre-market low this morning already. So this thing is moving very, very well. Towards the bottom, below the low of the pre-market, we do have a level 23.64. Great area of resistance that can now become support right on there. Couple of touches here on this day here as well. That could be a good one if we do decide to drop down. Then below that, guys, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days right on there. So we'll take a look at that later down the line. Here's Mara, guys. Mara, again, getting a little bit of pop. Right now, stuck between the highs and lows of the last 2 trading days. So if we zoom out on the daily, we do have a level here, 19.33. Below that, we do have 18.32 as well. I think that's all you really need to add on here. Aside from that, we've been kind of stuck in this consolidation after being beat up quite a bit the last week or so, right? Just stuck in here. Let's see where this goes. Right now, pre-market action looks very, very good. You can mark down the high of the pre-market over at 22. So let's throw a level there. And aside from that, I don't think you need to add anything else. PLTR, great volume, beautiful pre-market action. Can it continue into the market open, or are we going to get chopped? That is the question with PLTR. So this is one of those stocks that if I get chopped up, if I get stopped out, twice, I would think very hard to take that next trade, right? Not because I'm carrying the baggage from previous trades into the new trade. You should not do that. But this stock can go on a serious chop fest and not give you an opportunity, even though it seems like it's presenting itself with one. So just keep that in mind when it comes to PLTR. Right now, high of the pre-market, 21.34. We have that there, 21.62. Another great level off the daily here. And then slightly above that, we do have a 22.18, also a decent level, not great. There's not a lot of touches. I only have these 2 days right now as support and resistance on a PLTR. Now, the big thing here is this daily, right? Towards the bottom, you got plenty of support down here, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days, previous day close. You're bouncing off of that from a bigger bounce over at 17. You got a nice daily here. The candles are very nice and wide. We're kind of squeezing into a point. This has all the technical rules here to get going and break out nicely. Let's see if we can do that. Nvidia this morning, guys, right now, pre-market action is not looking great. This is more of a possible. The daily looks good at the moment. We'll do some levels for it. The low of the pre-market sitting at 605. 605.51. Now, Nvidia, guys, the last 3 days has been trading very clean, very good. If you go in here in the intraday action, you can see how clean that has been. Above the pre-market high and the highs from Friday, right on there, around 609 or so. You do have plenty of levels up here. This one is going to be very clean, 617, and you also have a 626. So I add those two on there. If you draw a line there, you can clearly see the area of resistance you have there up against that 617 level. Here is SQ, guys. So SQ right now just kind of stuck between the highs and lows of the last 2 trading days. Again, this could be more of a possible, but it can have some potential. The low of the pre-market all the way down to 198.51. Below this, we do have a 195.44, and we can actually update this 190. We can move this up here to about 192. Support happening here and here on that one. All right, heading down, let's look at Apple now. Apple, we do have a little bit of some action here. Not the best pre-market activity. High of the pre-market, 126.50. The low sitting all the way at 125.71. Now below this, guys, plenty of levels, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. You got great support here. Previous day close below the low of the pre-market. And then below that, in case we were to dive here, we do have 124, and we also have 122.90, 122.90 as well. Here's AMC, guys. AMC right now, pre-market action is looking rather better than the last time we saw it, right? Getting above this 1230 here. You can see here just some not some clean trading after 9 a.m. We've seen some action here. We're seeing more volume come in. We're hitting a million shares traded now. So this is definitely starting to get going. Low of the pre-market for AMC sitting at 1216. So we'll throw a level there. And then towards the bottom of that, guys, we don't have much, right? This is a great area of support that we're seeing here. It was able to hold that here on 1, 2, 3 days. And even the low of the pre-market, not getting close to it, not quite, but you're seeing some support happening there as well. So if we were to lose that, if we were to slam back down to that low of the pre-market, let's see where's the best level where we got a lot of touches. Could be this one here, guys, 11.45. Plenty of touches here. You got some there, here as well. These about 2 days here. So again, not the best level, but that's the best one that we have so far towards the bottom. All right, so that covers our list, guys. Space, Mara, PLTR, Nvidia. We do have SQ dropping here a bit. Apple, AMC. I see things are taking a turn for the downside. I'm assuming the SPY is dropping a little bit. Not much, but keep an eye on the SPY, guys. This is going to be a good indicator on how some of these stocks that do not have their individual own catalysts are going to trade today. So all right, let's take a look at our moderators lineup, see what do we have there. And I'm going to just bring over the visuals on here. A lot of you guys starting out laser. What's going on with laser? Let's take a look here. Oh, laser starting to get going. 21.8 all the way up to 25, up 10%. This thing is on the move, guys. What's the float on this, by the way? We've seen this one before. I don't think it's a low flow stock. No, it's not. It's not a low flow stock. So this one's on the move, guys. I'm going to add this one on here. Laser in play. Any news on Laser? What's going on with Laser? All right, while we wait for that, let's go ahead and move our visuals right over here, guys. Let me resize this so you can get a better picture of what's going on. So here is our moderators lineup. I'm going to scroll up. What do we have here? So Peter reporting no IPOs for today. John is looking at high of day breakouts, Coin and Nvidia on his list. Dima is looking at Space, Mara, PLTR, and Apple. Mike is looking at Nvidia SQ this morning. Thor likes Space, PLTR, Mara, secondary list Ride, NCLH and CCL and SQ. Peter is looking at Apple, Space, and AMD. Secondary list PLTR, Laser, Mara, and SQ as well. Jared is looking at Mara, Riot on the Bitcoin side, Space and PLTR. Secondary list GameStop and AMC today on his list. Eamon's looking at Bank of America, Futu, OCGN. Secondary list JP Morgan, Workhorse, and QS. Eamon likes QS. I see him put that on his list quite a bit last week as well. Andrew's looking at Space and PLTR this morning. Again, those two look very, very good so far. Brian's looking at Space, Laser, PLTR, NGM, BYND, and SFT. I think we looked at all of these except SFT. So we'll take a look at what that looks like right now. Oops, let's move this out of the way. Here we go. And we can close this. What does SFT looks like? All right, so we got some movement here. Brian finds these weird stocks all the time, but he does right, Norm. He comes out of left field with these things, and they sometimes do very well. They do very well.
It's usually a low float, and he says just for fun.
Yeah, just for fun. Yep. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining the pre-market prep over on TradingView and YouTube. We really, really appreciate it as we get this week going. So happy Monday to everyone out there. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. If it's your first time here, we do this every morning starting at 8 a.m. So make sure to subscribe. If you've been with us for some time already over on YouTube, I will highly recommend you check out our webinar this evening at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Myself, Mike, Kyle, a lot of the moderators will be there. We'll go over our community, what things are about. And you get access to the chat room for 7 days. So give it a shot. See if this community is the right one for you. And we would love to have you and give you guys a tour of what everything is we have to offer. Andrew's adding Laser to his list as well, as Laser continues to, again, just throw some really, really good volume around here. Noam, did you trade this while you were gone, or what's going on?
No. I wish I would have, I guess, but
it's looking good. Looking good.
Yeah, for sure. It can move. Just watch it.
Yeah, be very, very careful. Not a low flow stock. Yeah. No shares for sure. Up 10%. 1 million shares traded. Doing very, very well. Guys, take care. Hit that thumbs up, and we'll see you next time here in the pre-market show. We'll continue here with our chat room. Take care, guys.
Take care, guys. Trade safe.